things are about to get really shady. So much so that my African king will be staying right next to me because some of you deserve a flogging or two. As usual in this book of exposés, and reprimandations, I have compiled a list of 5 things I really wish we would stop doing. Jesus. Y'all, I just saw a big rat. As I was saying, I have compiled a list of 5 things that I want us to stop doing as plant people. Okay, we might have come a long way from being the crazy plant people of 2020, but there are still certain things that I want us to stop doing as a people, as a collective. Okay, so grab your coffee, grab a notepad, grab someone, because this is going to be a shocking expose and an introspection on what it is to be a plant parent in 2025 and beyond. So the first thing I want you all to stop doing, and this is specifically for my Western and American girlies, because this is such a Western thing. I'm going to need to reach out for my African king for this one. I want you to stop hyper-focusing on a genus of plants. In our last video, we talked about how back in the day, during the Panini era, if you don't know what I mean by Panini, I mean the pandemic. I talked about back then we used to hyper-focus on plants, specifically trending plants, and thank God we've stopped doing that. But what seems to be happening now, it was happening back then and it's still continuing, and it needs to stop, is some of you girlies are focusing on specific genuses. Back then it used to be philodendrons, and then Hoyas came. Now it is anthuriums. You can like a genus, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your entire collection needs to comprise of every single plant in that genus. That doesn't mean you need to go on a personal mission to collect every single plant in that genus. What typically happens is that you start getting burnt out and you start having a general distaste for that entire genus. You're essentially going to be throwing the baby and the bathwater away. And that is what happened with philodendrons. Remember how we all became very obsessed with philodendrons and we're collecting them? But now, most people are coming out to say, I don't like philodendrons. Well, because we got burnt out from collecting them. We were collecting them like Pokemon cards. Every single philodendron, regardless of whether it was a climbing or a crawling one, regardless of whether it was good for our homes, we were collecting them. And I see that happening now with anthuriums. Just because you like a plant in a genus doesn't necessarily mean you have to get every single plant in that genus, my loves. It's not sustainable for your pocket, and also it makes your collection honestly look boring and uninteresting. Like when I see your little IKEA cabinet and all is inside is every single anthurium, yet they all seem to look the same. Let's break that habit. You can admire a genus, you can have a favorite genus. I love aglaonemas, I love snake plants, but I'm not on a mission to collect every single plant in that genus. I know that's not wise, and that might potentially make me fall out of love with that genus in the long run. I become exhausted with that genus. Okay, so because you like, anthuriums doesn't necessarily mean you have to collect every single one. Let's I don't want to have to keep reaching for my cane, but let's do better. Okay, let's do better. Which leads me to the next point, and girlies, please, this is something I'm also guilty of, so I'm gonna have a more empathetic approach, because I know we can quickly do this to certain plants, to certain genuses rather. Okay, we need to stop demonizing an entire genus of plants. We come out here, and this is something that content creators, plant content creators, is a trope that we love to use. We come out here, we make these funny videos about calatheas. Oh, we hate them, blah blah blah, they are finicky, all alocasias are evil, it's like blah blah blah. We need to actually stop doing that, because when we do that, we actually cancel out the entire genus, forgetting the fact that there are actually plants in that genus that are actually easy. Calatheas, for example, we all know calatheas have the tendency to be quite problematic, yet we still have certain plants in that genus that are actually very, very easy. I've featured a couple of them before. My Calathea makoyana, she's as easy as it gets. I've had that now for 4 years, no single problem. So when we actually demonize an entire genus, we are depriving and scaring people away from actually benefiting from some of the easy plants in that genus, or even benefiting from some of the plants in that genus as a whole, whether they're easy or not. We've talked about this before. Not every single plant in your collection has to be a heirloom plant that you pass down from generation to generation. Some plants and some genuses you treat as cut flowers, okay? Yes, they have the reputation for it. Spider mites, all good and dandy, right? But like I've said, just see these plants as cut flowers as opposed to demonizing the whole genus. I just recently got some alocasia, and in my heart of hearts, I know that these alocasias are probably not going to last so long. If they do, then that's a pleasant surprise. But if they do not, in the meantime, I'm enjoying them. Yes, I do get the occasional spider mites, but I found myself actually enjoying them pleasantly. So let's stop demonizing and keeping people away from certain genuses of plants. I think a better approach should be 1, see plants in those genuses as cut flowers, or if you really want to dive into that genus, stick to the easier ones or start with the easier species in that genus, then gradually work your way up to the more challenging ones, as opposed to demonizing the entire genus. Do you get what I mean? Okay, if you're completely relating and you completely understand and you get the vibes, then drop a comment and let me know what you think. This next point, I don't know whether to reach for my African king or to have a more sympathetic approach. I don't know, we're gonna have to do a mix of both, okay? I want you to stop trying to monetize this hobby. Okay, I want you to just enjoy the hobby without necessarily trying to monetize it. And do not let anyone emotionally blackmail you or pressure you to monetize this hobby, especially in this current climate that it is right now. We've talked about this before and I've shared tidbits about this before. As a plant YouTuber, it is not easy in these streets anymore. A lot of plant YouTubers are experiencing a decline in their views and a decline in their revenue just because the audience isn't there as much as it used to be in 2020 or 2021. And I think a lot of businesses can also relate to this as well. So if you're coming in right now, you might actually end up being discouraged, you may end up being chagrined, and it could potentially leave a bad taste in your mouth for this hobby. Okay, if you are blessed and you are fortunate to have a good job that pays the bills for you, stick to it and just enjoy this hobby for what it is, purely a hobby. Before I became a plant YouTuber, like a more dedicated plant YouTuber, I used to dabble from time to time until I decided to face this machine full on last year. Prior to that, I would advise everyone, oh my god, start a plant YouTube channel, start a plant. But the moment I got into it, I realized this is a lot of work, this is a lot of commitment, this is a lot of time, and it can get expensive. It can get expensive, and if you're putting in all this work and you're not really getting much in return, it can really discourage you, and it can even make you lose interest in the hobby. However, if you have a garden, here's a tip for you. The garden girlies are raking in ad revenue. If you have a garden, you can make some gardening outdoor content if you really want a hobby that will sustain you and pay your bills. But this houseplant hobby, the only way I'm able to do it for this long and is because I live in a country where the cost of living isn't high, especially if you earn in dollars. So YouTube pays me in dollars. It's not a whole lot. You can check this video here. I'm gonna link it in the description to know how much I earn. It's not a whole lot, literally grocery money for you guys in the States and the UK, but in this part of the world it does go a long way. That's the only reason why I'm able to put in these long hours. Literally, sometimes I spend days to edit a video. I can literally put in these long hours without feeling so discouraged. So, my loves, just enjoy this hobby for what it is. You don't have to monetize it. Let's calm down in that department. Okay. If you're feeling the content so far, if you're liking the vibe, I like how this is, I'm being like a wicked auntie, but at the same time I'm also being the loving best friend that tells you the truth. I'm loving this vibe. So if you're loving it, then subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, and let's continue. Oh, this next one, I definitely have to bring my cane. My cane has to be brought for this one. My cane has to be brought, my African cane. Please, this all white pot aesthetic. This all white pot aesthetic that makes your collection look like it belongs in the tissue culture labs of a government military facility. Please, I want it to be left behind after watching this video. There's something very clinical about it that just doesn't go with the vibe of plants. Plants are actually organic, they are natural, and when you pair them with this plastic white pot, it just feels like it just makes, oh Lord, I don't even have the words for it, love. But please, let's let go of that look and let's let go of that aesthetic. Okay, I'm not necessarily saying your plant collection needs to be, your pots need to be extremely colorful and eccentric. I'm just saying, infuse some character in it, okay, and then also infuse some more natural elements into it. I, for example, a lot of my cover pots are actually rattan. I really love rattan. There's a certain natural element, obviously it's made of rattan, so it's natural. There's a natural element that it just adds to your home, and then when you pair it with a plant, oh, chef's kiss. Plants generally pair well when you match them with something else that is organic or naturally made. Like when you match them with terracotta, oh Jesus. When you match them with clay, oh Jesus. When you match them with rattan, oh Jesus. It just comes together, as opposed to these acerbic looking white pots. Please get this. Let's start infusing a bit more charm. I think that's the word, a bit more charm to our displays and our collections. It also doesn't help, and I actually wanted to make this a point, but I feel like this is a subjective thing. It also doesn't help that those your IKEA shelves, these IKEA shelves, when you come, I don't know why they have you all in the West as such a chokehold. I need you all in the comments to tell me, why are Americans obsessed with IKEA plant shelves? Okay, these IKEA shelves honestly look very industrial. There's such an industrial, it looks like something that was compiled in a warehouse. There's such an industrial look to it, and then when you pair it with your all white pots, oh, it looks like a show glass for like a plant store rather than something that should be in your home. I don't know why you guys don't like to use wooden shelves, like actually wooden shelves, like treated wooden shelves that that you could find in your thrift store. I don't know, they just look a bit more charming. Okay, but again, my opinion on that. But what I stand on are those white pots. Let's infuse more charm to our display, please, and free ourselves from the shackles of those white pots. All white beige look, please. Oh babes, this one is actually a serious one. And I left it at the end of this video so it doesn't scare a lot of people off. But this one is serious, and it's something that we need to take very seriously. Like, jokes apart, let's be serious. Let's have a serious one. I want us to stop limiting ourselves to just growing houseplants. And babes, what I mean by that is I want us to actually start growing and planting edible plants. I think it is a necessary skill, especially with the state of the world. Have you seen what is going on in the world right now? Have you seen? It's giving very, very WW3 vibes, guys. I feel like it's an important skill. I don't want us to just restrict ourselves to just growing these beautiful ornamental plants, but the skills we have learned from these ornamental plants, I want us to put it into actually starting an edible garden. Now, if you're blessed to have the space, the outdoor space, the backyard, you can keep your houseplant indoors, while then perhaps turning that or using that as a way to actually hone your edible gardening skills. Okay, now if you're somebody who has like a small space, it's still doable. So you guys, I've seen you guys grow friggin' bananas indoors. So I know if you really wanted to grow a cabbage or 2 or 3 in your home, you can pull it off. Especially my Western girlies, there's nothing you guys can grow in your homes from what I've seen. If you can grow and keep those finicky fiddly fig trees, actual trees in your home, you should be able to pull off growing a cabbage, perhaps even a tomato or pepper. There are ways to go about it, and I think it's not even so much about the harvest. I think it's about acquiring the skill. I feel like everyone should arm themselves with the skill to grow edible foods that they can eat. Okay, just with what is going on in the world. So I don't want us to limit ourselves, and I wish I'd known this earlier. I've actually started, I tried growing tomatoes. It was a disaster, but I'm going to try again. I have my peppers I'm growing in my backyard. They're doing fab, they're doing well. I've bought a couple of seeds as well, which is also something you can do. You can start by just buying and collecting seeds, but I feel like it's a very, very important skill for you to actually fine-tune and learn, as opposed to just limiting yourself to these house plants. Because when things hit the ceiling, if and when that happens, you won't be able to eat your philodendrons, would you? So loves, let us I think it's something that everyone should have. Let's stop limiting ourselves to just house plants, and let us endeavor to actually start a vegetable garden in our own little way. Okay, all right. So yeah, loves, we've come to the end of this video, and I really hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope you liked the vibe and all of that. And as usual, I'm curious to know your thoughts. Please let me know what you think about some of the points I mentioned in this video. Do you agree with them? Do you not agree with them? As usual, sound off. And I'll see you in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. For now, goodbye, my loves.